Welcome back to Kansas City. We're tied at 1. We head to the bottom of the second inning. And you talk about he got game, Kenny. We think that about Al Troutwig because of that. MSG Sports Desk tomorrow night. Al's going to get up about 6 in the morning. He'll be down there for the Knicks Heat Game 5 in sunny southern Florida. And because that's a 12:30 start, MSG will have a special playoff edition of the Knicks postgame tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on MSG. You can catch all the highlights of Game 5 of the Knicks Heat playoff game. Al Troutwig will be down there to bring you the first-hand comments. He got game. And air miles.
He got playing, yeah.
Ball 1 to Ernie. Check that, Shane Mack. What a welcome trade it was for Shane Mack. He was traded early this season for catcher Mike McFarland. He got off to a great start.
Had a 15-game hitting streak, but right now is 0 for 13. So the 15-gamer, he went from one extreme, real hot, to real cold.
Penthouse to the warehouse, but he's got a 3-0 count here as Andy Pettit has had a little trouble finding the strike zone. General manager Herc Robinson. Not many of Herc's trades have worked out in recent years, so he's hopeful this one will. The trade with the Atlanta Braves, Jermaine Dye for Keith Lockhart and Michael Tucker. Then John Nunley and Chris Steins went to Cincinnati. They're both doing quite well there. Down the right field line and slicing foul. Count is full. Shane Mack was a #1 pick of the San Diego Padres back in 1984. Actually, I think he was picked by the Royals. He didn't sign with them. Then 3 years later signed with the Padres. And he just didn't make it. 11th overall pick coming out of UCLA. Just didn't make it with the Padres. Ernie Young waits on deck. Low, and he draws a walk. A rare leadoff walk issued by Andy Pettit.
I'll have to watch over at first base and see if the runners shorten up their lead.
Frank White is telling him right now, play like it's softball. Keep one foot on the bag. And Shane Mack has about a 6-foot lead over there. Curveball catches the outside corner. Interesting how things work in baseball and the twists and turns of a player's career. And Shane Mack, a good example of how that can work out from a positive standpoint. Mentioned he wasn't really cutting it with the Padres, just wasn't performing.
Didn't he go to Japan for a while?
After his tenure with the Minnesota Twins. That's in the dirt. But it was AAA manager Phil Roof of the Minnesota Twins who filed a report and said, this guy I think can be had at a cheap price, and I think he can play. And so the Twins picked him up, and that year, 1991, when they won the World Series, he hits .310, 18 home runs. Kirby Puckett had a great influence on his career, as well as a former teammate of yours, Terry Crowley. Really taught Shane how to turn on the ball. And he had 5 solid years there, went to Japan for a couple, and now he's back in the big leagues. Yeah, they're a little antsy over there. Don't really know which way to take a break, toward the bag or toward second. Just the opposite of last night's game, when Arabu and Rapp, the starting pitchers, were sharp early. That's upstairs, and it's 2-1. Set a good tempo to the ball game. But tonight, both Haney and Pettit struggling. There's Hideki Arabu. What a performance last night. Just 2 hits. First time in his big league career he went to the 8th inning. Got his first win.
8 strikeouts.
Fouled at the plate. 2-2 to Young.
Kitty, you've mentioned from time to time about the California Angels lineup in the clubhouse before the game. There's always a quote.
Right.
Well, they have the same thing here in Kansas City. And before the ball game, I went in there to check out their lineup on the wall. And the quote was, If you ain't the lead dog, the scenery never changes. And that sounds like typical Tony Muser.
Yeah. I wonder if we can get Zim to come up with some quotes to put on the Yankee lineup card. Some pearls of inspiration. Low. And it's a full count.
And right now the scenery for the Kansas City Royals, they only have the Cleveland Indians in front of them in the Central Division. Indians started off great. Now they've slowed down a bit.
Shane Mackey's getting some instruction. Frank White is saying don't break for second base till that ball is at least halfway to home plate. And now he goes. Strike three, and that pickoff move helped free Shane Mack at first base. So again, Andy Pettit's pickoff move becomes a weapon for him. Strikeout of Ernie Young, and Mack could go nowhere.
Well, you become hesitant to get too big a lead and then get a jump. Pitches in there, cut it for a call strike. Andy expected the runner to be going. See, he was thinking about it, but I can't get a jump. They would have had to throw back to first to get him, because that's where you've been going back to.
So again, an example here. The Royals have 2 hits. Pettit has walked 2. So they've had enough base runners, but it's his ability with the pickoff move and making good pitches to not give up a lot of runs. Mike Sweeney fouls the first pitch out of play. Out of Ontario, California, he's now become the Royals' #1 catcher. Hitless against Pettit.
He learned a little something about his manager tonight. He came out for extra hitting, but he was 5 minutes late, and he didn't get a chance to take extra hitting.
Tony Muser's going to establish plenty of discipline. That's inside for a ball. The Royals had a game 3 nights ago where the game was called because of rain, and he didn't do it for punishment, but he kept them out here and had them run through their sprints and go through a workout just to get some work in and not just to shower and dress and go home. In the hole into right field, and Mack will make the turn and head for third. And again, the Royals will have runners at the corners with 1 down here in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, usually when you throw an off-speed pitch like a changeup, a hitter will pull the ball. But this one was out over the plate, and Sweeney was able to recognize it and hit the ball through the hole. See Shane Mack make the turn and head for third. The throw was cut off by Jeter from Paul O'Neill.
Mack at third, Sweeney at first, and it'll bring up Shane Halter, the Yankees' first look at him in this series. As Kenny mentioned, product of the University of Texas. A couple of home runs this year. Tries to bunt one home. Again, that looked like that might have been something he did on his own just to get a run home.
Well, Halter is up there with the runners over at third and at first, but he's also 1 for his last 13. So this might have entered into his thinking. It's a safety squeeze. You can see that Shane Mack was not running until the ball was actually bunted. Once he realized that Halter was going to lay it down, that's when Mack decided to come.
In on the hands, grounded foul. And it's quickly 0-2. If Halter can show a little consistency with the bat, there's a chance he could become the regular shortstop here in Kansas City. Felix Martinez hitting about $1.50 and not playing as well in the field as they'd anticipated he would.
It's a wide open job. You get hot, you stay.
In the air to right, not hit deep. We'll see if O'Neill, he's in good position. The strong throw home, and they've got him. Nice play by Paul O'Neill. Girardi blocks the plate, and again Pettit escapes after a couple of base runners. The accurate arm of Paul O'Neill
He gets a lot of attention for offense, but he has one of the better arms in the league for perfect throw. You see Girardi has plenty of time to get the glove down and make the tag.
Still tied at 1 in Kansas City. Back after this.
New York Yankees baseball on MSG. The Yanks are in Kansas City to battle the Royals again after New York City Marriott scorecard tomorrow on MSG.
Success in life rarely happens by chance. Work, thrift, and savings are the cornerstones of financial independence. In planning for an education, a family, or retirement, learning the value of money and the personal responsibility it carries are the challenges we face in life. You're not alone. The Credit Bureau has free education programs that can help show you how to best develop realistic financial planning for your future. Don't leave your financial success to chance. Call the Credit Bureau today.
Looking for something special to do? How about creating a one-of-a-kind jewelry design? Travel with designers John and Laura Ramsey around the world in search of the finest loose gemstones, all from the comfort of your home. Just click the channel to Value Vision for fast, fun, and convenient shopping featuring gems at large and a variety of other shows 24 hours a day, every day. Looking for more? Turn to Value Vision on your local cable system today.
Never before, possibly never again. Financing on the right side of the point. 0.9%. Financing less than 1%. 0.9% for 48 months on Taurus and Ranger. You want the car? We have the financing. 0.9% for 48 months on Taurus. You want the truck? We have the financing. 0.9% for 48 months on Ranger. You must not miss this. Hurry to your local Ford dealer.
Things are changing. Ominous skies over the left field stands here in Kansas City, and the ground crew poised to put the tarp on as we start the top of the third. Knobloch takes strike 1. Led off with a walk in about a 10-pitch at bat, and then was picked off by Haney. The Yankees have had 3 base runners in addition to Jeter's home run. That's hit well out in the right center field. Ernie Young on the run, and he's going to catch up with it on the warning track. A nice running catch as that ball carried well to right center field.
Ernie Young, a center fielder with the Oakland A's, and has plenty of speed and able to run that ball down. That one got caught up in a wind and almost took it away from Ernie Young. We're going to take a look at Paul O'Neill. And the throw to the plate last inning. That is a good throw. There's no doubt about that. And the throw actually will beat Shane Mack to the plate. But watch him as he slides in. From that angle, it's hard to tell.
It's that old, the ball beats you so you're out. But young outfielders, if you're at home watching what Paul O'Neill did so well on that play. There's Girardi trying to block Mack off the plate.
See, the foot is underneath him between his legs, and he is actually safe on that play.
Ball and a strike now to Jeter. What O'Neill did so well, not Buck O'Neill, he's going to be with us in a minute here, but Paul O'Neill, he got himself in position with his footwork, caught that ball over near his throwing arm, and just gave him every chance, gave himself every chance to make an accurate throw. In for a strike, 1-2. And we've got a very special guest we'll introduce in just a moment. Always a pleasure to see one of the baseball treasures when we come to Kansas City. Got him to chase the off-speed pitch, so Haney has settled down now. He's retired 5 in a row. That's his first strikeout of the game, and there's 2 down here in the Yankee third. And welcome Buck O'Neill. Always good to see him.
It's always good to be here. Anywhere, really.
Well, you're so much a part of baseball history, not just in Kansas City, but everywhere. I mean, we could keep you here for 9 innings and listen to your stories.
Oh.
Here's O'Neill. Fouled out of play. Seems like every player we talk about, Buck, you'll say, I remember him when he was a kid.
Oh, sure.
You remember that guy on your right when he was a kid?
I sure do.
I think you guys crossed paths at the Negro League Museum a couple days ago, which
Yeah,
you were
Today, yeah.
You were influential in starting that.
Yeah.
The Negro League started back in 1920. It was a meeting right here in Kansas City.
Kansas City, that's right.
That got it started. Rube Foster was involved.
Rube Foster.
Yeah.
Rube Foster was the head man, And right here in Kansas City, YMCA.
How many teams right from the start were there, Buck?
8.
8 teams?
That's outside to O'Neill, so you got a chance to see them all. Josh Gibson, Satchel.
Oh, yeah. Played with Satchel, played against Josh.
I asked you about Joe Rogan today that
Yeah.
you told me he had a nickname of Bullet, and he said there was a good reason for it.
Good curveball. We're going to visit more with Buck O'Neill and the Royals come up. That was an outstanding curveball by Chris Haney. Back-to-back strikeouts. Yankees down in order. Royals coming to bat in the third. We're tied at 1.
Kids, why is Dad so happy we rented with Hertz?
Hertz 24-hour emergency roadside assistance?
No, exactly.
Hertz computerized driving directions?
Nope, not exactly.
Then why exactly?
Listen.
Now rent any compact through full-size car from Hertz for the special weekend day rate of $29. That's $29 even for a sporty Ford Mustang Coupe.
That's why Dad's so happy.
American Express Small Business Services. How can I help you?
How can I help you?
Right. We only work with small businesses.
Why don't we start with your cash flow?
And our equipment financing plan will help spread out the payments.
That'll definitely give you more flexibility. How about setting up a line of credit?
We can do that.
Then I'll put you in touch with one of our CPAs so you can start getting ready for tax time.
We can always make adjustments when your situation changes.
Call 1-800-SUCCESS to find out how American Express Small Business Services can help you do more.
The new Dodge Durango is like no sport utility you've ever seen. Say, for instance, you live in a neighborhood with a rhino problem. In a Durango, you could outrun him with the most powerful engine offered in the class. Or you could move him with its best-in-class towing capacity. Or, if push really came to shove, Durango's superior horn would prevail. Durango, new ground for the new Dodge.
Gotta get pumped, gotta look tough, gotta take off, gotta check out the stuff.
Gotta go to Moe's. For the best selection of Yankee t-shirts, hats, jerseys, jackets, and more, you've gotta go to Moe's. Gotta go to Moe's.
Identical totals as we head to the bottom of the third. Johnny Damon to lead it off against Andy Pettit. Fans started heading for cover as some raindrops started to fall. That's in for a strike, and we're visiting with Buck O'Neill. Tell us a little bit about the origin of the museum, what it's about, how people can go and see it.
Well, and it all started right here in Kansas City.
Ground ball to Tino Martinez. Oops, had a little late cover in the bag. And boy, he had to do a cartwheel to get out of Damon's way.
Sure did.
Damon might be the fastest of the Royals. He gets down the line pretty good, and it comes into play right here. Andy Pettit can't grab the throw, and there's Damon. He's going to beat him to the bag anyway.
That's right.
So they haven't scored it as of yet, whether it's going to be a hit or an error, but I might want a hit if I were Johnny Damon.
You know that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
An error charge to Tino Martinez. That's a tough error because really it was Andy Pettit being a little late getting over to first base.
That's not true.
So Damon aboard now, and Offerman will step in.
But one thing I really enjoyed this afternoon for fans who want to check out the museum, the Negro League Baseball Museum, it's at 18th and Vine in Kansas City.
That's right.
But there is also the Jazz Museum right next to it. I mean, they're in the same building.
The same building is right, and it's wonderful. You should come down there and see it. It's good to see. And see, 18th and Vine, that's where everything happened around here. You know, in the 30s and 40s.
Well, see, I thought that song was 4th Street and Vine, but I guess it happened 12th Street and Vine. But it happens on 18th and Vine.
Yeah, well, and 12th Street was live, too. Yeah.
A short walk, 12th to 8th.
Yeah.
I asked you a little while earlier if you had known the great blues singer Joe Turner.
Oh, yeah. Big Joe right here in Kansas City. He walked up down in 18th and Vine quite a bit.
So he supported the ball club, and you went to see him?
Sure. We would see them, and not only there, all over New York City. We stayed at the Woodside Hotel, and we would go to the ball games in the afternoon, and they'd come to the ball games, see us at night. We would go to the clubs and see them.
Yeah.
2-0 now to Offerman. They kind of go hand in hand, jazz and baseball.
Yeah, jazz and baseball. I tell you what, Bojangles was part owner with the New York Black Yankees. The great dancer.
You got to have a little rhythm to play this game.
Yeah, Bill Bojangles Robinson, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Damon staying very close as Offerman takes ball 3. We got to see a lot of you on Ken Burns' baseball special. Has that affected your life in terms of your fame, your recognition?
That's right. That's why I'm sitting up here now.
we knew you long before that.
Yeah, I'm all over, really. Hey, look at that rain.
That's blowing in sheets right now, and Don Dinkinger, the crew chief. Yeah, now he's going to call it.
Yeah.
It's with the wind and the rain, they're going to get the tarp on right now. Yo! Looks like something that could just blow through in a very short period of time, but they want to make sure the field stays protected. Saw some pictures, Buck, of the old ballpark not too far from here, and that's where you played most of your baseball, I would have guessed.
Yeah. When we first started playing up there, it was actually Mulebach Stadium. Mulebach, you know the Mulebach Hotel?
Sure.
Well, the Mulebach man was the beer man here. And the Mulebach Field, then the Yankees named the field the Blues Stadium, because the Blues were part of the Yankees, see? It was Yankee farm team, AAA team. So then when they brought the athletics here, then they named the Clark Municipal Stadium.
One thing that I liked about the museum today, the life-size statues of the players at their positions in that one room.
Yeah. Wasn't that nice?
It was beautiful. Satchel Paige on the mound, Josh Gibson catching.
Yeah.
Martin Diego from Cuba.
Great hitter, Martin Diego. I'll tell you how great Martin Diego could play every position and played it well. And he's in the Cuban Hall of Fame. He's in the Mexican Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame at Cooperstown. Yeah, he was a great player.
Leon Day and Cool Papa Bell. I noticed that Cool Papa Bell was in left field. I thought he was a center fielder.
He was a center fielder, but the center fielder there is Oscar Charleston, who was actually, I think Willie Mays is the greatest Major League Baseball player I ever saw. Oscar Charleston was the greatest ball player I ever saw. Oh, you should have seen him. What we old-timers say that the closest thing to Oscar Charleston was Willie Mays.
You know who I always think gets, and I understand why you're saying about Willie Mays, but one guy that always gets a little short change when it comes to great all-around player is Hank Aaron. He was more than just a home run hitter.
Oh, he could play. Outstanding
right fielder. He stolen a lot of bases.
Outstanding right fielder could run. Yeah.
Now, the stories that you hear, you know, they get legendary over the years. You know, a baseball story, any kind of story gets better over the years. Did Josh Gibson really hit a ball out of Yankee Stadium?
Yeah.
He did. Now, whereabouts did he hit it?
I don't know. I really don't.
Was it left field? Left field?
They told me it must have been by left. Left center, probably. Well, he could hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could hit it.
Buck, we're gonna take a commercial break for just a minute. We're gonna get under some cover where it's a little drier and warmer, and visit a little more with you if you have some time to stay with us. We'd really appreciate that. Back on MSG, we're in a rain delay in Kansas City after this.
This President's Week, Toyota celebrates freedom of choice, and America's choice is Camry. In cities, in towns all across the country, Camry's America's #1 selling automobile. And this week only get a Camry for even less. Lease now for $249 a month and pay no security deposit. With air, automatic, cruise control, power package, and no security deposit. Camry, built by the people, for the people, it's the people's choice. Don't miss President's Week deals on a full line of Toyotas. Get your #1 Camry deal now.
John Lithgow performs the Discover Chord Dial-Along song.
An extemporaneous piece.
Provided for your dialing pleasure while you call 1-800-IT-pays-2. and apply for your Discover card, the card with the cashback bonus award that always pays you back.
That was a nice surprise.
And that's music to everyone's ears. It pays to Discover. To apply, call 1-800-IT-PAYS-TO. Accepted where you see the Novus sign.
Back in Kansas City, a rain delay here in the bottom of the third, but perfect time for a rain delay.
Yeah.
Because we got one of the great baseball guests that anyone could have in Buck O'Neill. We're talking a lot about the history of the Negro Leagues, the museum, and the part that you had in it.
Yeah.
And I think just what you started, first of all, is such a tremendous attraction. But the stories you had from seeing all those great players, like some of the names that Kenny was ticking off, and you guys actually played some all-star games against some of the major league days also.
Of course.
What was your first impression when you saw some of the major leaguers of those days and said, hey, we're as good as they are?
Well, you know, I've seen Major League Ball all my life. See, I'm from Sarasota, Florida. And when I was a kid, the Giants, John McGraw and the Giants trained in Sarasota. Up Tampa at the time, the Yankees trained in Tampa. Miller Huggins. Down south, it's Fort Miles with Connie Mack and the Athletics. So I've seen great baseball all my life. But I tell you what, I had an uncle who lived in New York City, and he came, and I'm telling him about all the great ball players I had seen, the greatest ball players in the world. He said, how do you know they were greatest? I said, well, they're playing in the Major League. He said, well, and I tell you what, say, I'm going to take you down to West Palm Beach, and I'm going to let you see some other ball players this fall and see what you think. I said, okay. Well, I appeased him because, hell, I'd seen Ruth, I'd seen Ty Cobb. You know, I'd seen all these guys. I knew I'd seen the best in the world. Anyway, he did come back that fall, and he took my dad and I down to West Palm Beach, over to Royal Pontana Hotel, one of the greatest tourist hotels in the country. At the time, Rube Foster and the Chicago American Giants represented that hotel. And they played ball game on Thursday and 2 ball games Sunday. And over at the Breakers Hotel, another tourist hotel, C.I. Taylor, the Indianapolis ABCs, represented that hotel. So I tell you what, see, Babe Ruth hitting the home runs, you know, and so, hell, you could go in and get some popcorn or something till Babe Ruth or Gilg or some of those guys come up. And, but the guys I saw down there, Ruth had a team, and so did C.I. They had 8 guys on each one of those teams. Could steal you 50 bases, man. Could hit you 350, hit you by 20, 30 home runs. So you couldn't go get popcorn or nothing because they might do something you've never seen before, you know. You walk the guy, steal second, steal third. If you wasn't smart, he'd steal home. No. It was outstanding ball.
What were some of the names of those first players you saw?
First players I saw, Oscar Charleston, one of the greatest.
What did he play?
Well, Oscar Charleston played center field for the Indianapolis ABCs. Bingo DeMars played second base for the Chicago American Giants. Yeah, they had great baseball players and a great Cuban ball player that played on that team with them.
Buck, my dad grew up in Chicago, and he told me about the great East-West All-Star games that they had at Old Comiskey Stadium. And some of the players that were there, of course, Satchel was the big attraction in those days, but there was some great pitchers. Slim Jones.
Slim Jones, yeah.
A left-hander from Baltimore.
That's right.
Yeah.
Could really throw. Slim could really throw. And William had so many great balls. Leon Day was one of the great pitchers. Hilton Smith from here was a great pitcher. And Bullet Joe Rogan, who's going in the Hall of Fame this year, was a great pitcher. And but that cool Papa Bell playing there. Josh Gibson, see? Josh Gibson was catching, you know, Campanella played with in our league. But he couldn't catch in the All-Star game because that was Josh's job.
Buck, you're on the Veterans Committee for the Hall of Fame. What are some of the other Negro players from the Negro Leagues that deserve recognition, and maybe we could look for to get in the Hall of Fame here in the near future?
Yeah, it's all right. It's a guy that played with New York, Smokey Joe Williams.
pitcher.
He's going to, pitcher. He's going to get into the Hall of Fame. Muse Suttles, we need to get in the Hall of Fame. I got about 10 guys yet that should go into the Hall of Fame, but I tell you what, they gave me 5 more years that they would, that the Negro League would be on a separate ballot. We have used 4 of them. 4 years we got one. We got 1 more year to come, but in Cooperstown this year, I'm going to beg them up for 5 more.
You deserve it. They should give you a few more.
Yeah, we'll get it.
What was your thoughts when it got to the late 40s and Branch Rickey made the decision? Say a few years before that, what are the thoughts going through your mind about which one is going to finally be the one to get there? Were there other players that you thought may have been the one before Jackie came along?
Yeah, I thought Monty might.
Monty Irvin?
I thought Monty, you should have seen Monty when Monty was a kid. Oh, man. He was a good baseball player in the Major League. But listen, you should have seen that sucker when he was 19 years old. Great athlete, great all-around athlete. But actually, it was when Branch Rickey signed Jackie to that contract, that was the beginning of the modern-day civil rights movement.
Sure.
That was before Brown versus Topeka. That's the education. Martin Luther King was a sophomore down at Morehouse at the time. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
So that started the ball rolling right there.
Now, your autobiography, right on time. Your thoughts, a lot of people say you didn't get a chance to play in the major leagues yourself personally, but your autobiography kind of says different.
Well, and one thing, I just might have been playing it. I was playing with some of the best baseball in the world. I just happened to have been in a black ball club, But no. It's the timing was right when they put Jackie in. Jackie was the right guy to go. I was too old then, and Josh was too old. Satchel's too old, but he was Satchel. He could fill up the ballpark, so they brought him up.
Johnny Sane used to tell me some great Satchel Paige stories. You got a chance to barnstorm with Satchel. You talk a lot about all the great players that you saw, but let's talk about you. What about you as a player? What were your skills?
I was a good ball player, line drive hitter, and great hand. One year, 1946, I made 1 error.
Wow.
And it was a throwing. The ball was right here, and it hit my hand, and I really picked it up before the guy got there. But I surprised the umpire, so he called him out, really.
And you weren't playing on any AstroTurf. You were playing on some rock.
Yeah, I could play, but I was a very good ball player.
Do you have
Hall of Fame is great. You understand what I mean? Great. Because everybody that played in the Negro League had to been a good ball player. It's the same thing. Anybody playing in the Major League, especially during my era, had to be an outstanding ball player.
Yeah, when they had, I have a lot of people, and Kenny probably does too, that say, well, you guys came along too soon. I'll bet you wish you'd have played now when the money is the way it is. And I say, when I would have loved to have played, I was happy the years that I did play. I would have loved to have played from 46 to 60. That was the golden decade of baseball, the golden era of baseball.
Hey, some of the greatest athletes ever lived played baseball that period. Yeah. See, one thing about it. Yeah, see, what did happen is football, basketball was more or less college ball, college game. That was a college game, but so the best athlete in the world played baseball. Because if you want to make a living professionally, you played baseball. That's what happened. So, but right now, I'm looking at some kids now. Outstanding. Hey, you got a kid here playing shortstop. Huh?
Derek Jeter?
Yeah.
Hey, good as anybody ever played. The people will tell you the other thing, but all you got to do is give him some time. Give him some time.
What do you think of the modern baseball player now that you see out on the field now, Buck, as compared to the players of years ago?
Outstanding. Outstanding. Only thing about it, we just don't get enough of them. That's to see, during my day, it was the supply was greater than the demand.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now the demand is greater than the supply. We can't get enough.
Well, they're all going to other sports. They're playing basketball now.
I tell you who we miss in baseball more than anybody else, I believe, in baseball. That's that fast white kid.
Yeah.
Who used to play the middle infield. You remember? I played center field. We missing that kid.
Ashburn.
Yeah. These kids, they don't play baseball. They aren't playing baseball. They're kicking that damn ball around. Out there. You know what I mean? And these are the guys we miss, because our middle infielders now more or less Latins.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got, you're right, the middle infielders, that like San Pedro de Macorís.
Yeah.
They produce so many. Buck, we really thank you. I mean, you are such a baseball treasure. We're very privileged to have had a rain delay and be able to have you. And certainly everybody that comes through Kansas City should stop over and see that Negro League Museum where it all got started. And you're such a big part of it. Thanks very much.
I'm glad I could be here, but I got a question for you.
Okay.
Where are they going to put Yankee Stadium?
Oh. Boy, we need about 3 or 4 innings. Talk about that. I think they'd like to keep it right where it is, but I don't know.
I doubt if they're going to keep it there. I wish they would, but it's going to be in Manhattan. I hope it. Where in the world to put Yankee Stadium in Jersey?
That's right.
No,
all right, Buck, thank you so much. We're going to take a commercial break, and they're getting ready to play baseball, so we'll have the Royals and the Yankees for you. Andy Pettit taking his warm-up tosses back after this.
Let's go. Out of here.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. I want to wake up in a city that never sleeps and find I'm a number one. Of the list, king of the hill, a number one. It's up to you, New York, New York, New York.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by the irresistible taste that makes you say, did somebody say McDonald's? By American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. By your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. And by Nobody Beats the Wiz Home Entertainment Center.
Welcome back to Kansas City. Ready to play baseball. The Royals will get you up to date on the game situation. We're tied at 1. It's the bottom of the 3rd. Johnny Damon is at first base with nobody out, and Andy Pettit, who has struggled here in the early innings, has a 3-1 count on Jose Offerman. How lucky can you be to get rained out in Kansas City and have a guy like Buck O'Neill standing by and be able to tell? I mean, we just barely scratched the surface of.
Gee, I wanted to ask him some Satchel Paige stories about Satchel telling his outfielders not to go out to the outfield. He wouldn't need him that inning. And there was another great Satchel story where he walked by the opposing dugout before the ball game and looked in there and said, I'm giving up 3 hits today. Who wants them? And everybody looked out like he was kidding. You know, he got to the 6th inning. He hadn't given up any hits. And he looked over and he said, I'm giving up 3 hits today. Who wants it? Everybody jumped up and waved their hands. Oh, great stories.
So Offerman, who doubled in his first at bat and knocked in the only Kansas City run, a scoring change. Johnny Damon has now been credited with a base hit. The official scorer feeling that Andy Pettit could not have gotten to first base ahead of him. So Damon has a pair of singles in 2 at bats, and we're ready to play ball. Back in time, a 17-minute rain delay, and that's how long the Yankees batted in the top of the 1st inning against Chris Haney. So it was about a half an inning delay.
Tony Muser has Damon at first base now, and one of the reasons he moved him to the top of the order last year when he took over as manager.
Jeter in the hole. They'll get 1, no chance for 2. That's the first out of the inning.
He put Johnny Damon at the top of the order to make use of his speed. And wasn't it quite a compliment for Derek Jeter from Buck O'Neill to mention that he's played shortstop as good as anybody he's ever seen? Jeter to his right, quickly over to second for the force to get Johnny Damon, erase him, and not a play at first base as Offerman will get on the fielder's choice.
Al Morris steps in. I think what Buck pointed out, and so accurate, the middle infielders, the good athletes, Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter, Omar Garcia-Parra out in front of the plate. That's a fair ball. They've got Morris at first. They could not get Offerman, who alertly broke for second, and a nice easy out for the Yankees against the league's second best hitter. That's 2 down.
Now here's the replay. The ball has overspin on it. Will get out in front of home plate. Joe Girardi looks to second, has no play there, and will throw on the first for the out.
2 down, and here's Dean Palmer. But what Buck pointed out is, you know, Knobloch might be an example of a fast white athlete playing the middle infield, but we see a lot of the African American athletes and Latin American athletes playing those positions. Good cutter there.
He also made the point that moving around playing other sports. Now, he mentioned the best athletes in his day played baseball.
Right.
And as he pointed out, that college sports, for football and basketball, well, now they've become big pro sports. That's where a lot of the athletes are moving around to.
You wonder if Jackie Robinson were playing in today's era, whether he would have even been a baseball player.
He was an All-American at UCLA football, yep.
In on the hands and petted quickly ahead of Palmer, 0-2.
You know, one thing those sports offer, they offer right after college, you go directly to the majors, to the top.
Don't ride those buses.
Yep, and very few Major League Baseball players that come through the college route or out of high school go directly to the major leagues. You have to spend some time in the minors, and at low pay at that.
Inside corner. Palmer down on strikes. He didn't think so. Andy Pettit with another big pitch to get out of a jam. Al Trautwig will join me in the 4th inning. 3 in the books. We're tied at 1. Back after this on MSG.
The City Hawks have landed. Catch all the non-stop action as they battle it out in a cross-river showdown against the Jersey Red Dogs. Monday night on MSG.
Stop at the shop, Stereo Shop.
Lower prices, free lifetime service. Buy everything in the Stereo Shop.
Car stereo to cell phones, big screens to camcorders. You get more for your money at Stereo Shop.
They're not on commission. They sell me what I need. Now it costs more.
We take care of our customers. That's why we've been here for 15 years. I like that I'm supporting the local business. Greece, Henrietta, or the new East Avenue. When you're buying electronics,
stop at the shop, Stereo Shop.
Being in the right place at the right time. That's what news is all about. That's why the people of NBC News are always there for you on MSNBC.
It's NBC News 24 hours a day. The right place for breaking news.
The headlines.
The right time, whenever you need it. The new leader in cable and internet news is MSNBC.
Imagine a Sagebrook home by Ranchshire, nestled along the Mill Creek as it gently meanders toward the lake in Webster. Great space, great tradition, each unique. Starting from the 190s, Ranchshire homes are built with the best components. They're even inspired by them. Visit Sagebrook's furnished model weekdays 9 to 3 p.m. and Sundays 1 to 4 in Webster off Route 250 near Lake Road. With 25 years building experience, Ranchshire is here to help you realize your dreams.
Cloudy skies in Kansas City. A reminder, New York Yankee baseball brought to you in part by Toyota. Every day. Kind of like our broadcast partner. Every day it's baseball today, basketball tomorrow.
It's always something.
And I heard you listening into the Buck O'Neil stories. We should have had an hour-and-a-half rain delay.
I love that, man. I mean, of all the people to have in the booth for a little brief rain delay, I mean, he was it. Great. Bernie Williams will start it off for the Yankees here in the top of the 4th inning. And he splits his bat out to third. I think that distracted Dean Palmer. The throw is late and wide. And the Yankees have the leadoff man on. Oh, the bat came apart. and went right out toward Dean Palmer at the same time the ground ball did.
I think you're right, Al. You keep your eye on the ball, but not on the bat if you can do it. And you see Palmer, he lifted his head up, saw that bat kind of helicoptering toward him. As a result, he misses it, charged with an error. Watch the head come up. He's looking at the bat instead of the ball.
And I don't blame him.
No.
That's a very tough E5 that has been given to the Kansas City Royals third baseman Dean Palmer. So now the hitter's Tino Martinez. Tino popped to second his first time up. Kitty, I think you were the one who told me, don't tell me how great a pitcher is when his stuff is great. Tell me how great a pitcher is when his stuff isn't great. And we're seeing that from Andy Pettitte tonight.
Yeah. And even Chris Haney after the laborious first inning, he's settled down also.
You see it so many times. You have a shot with a throw over here to get to a pitcher in the first inning. And if you don't explode the game then, you've lost that chance for a few.
Get them early or you don't get them. That is a trademark of a lot of great pitchers.
How about Tino? 3 errors in 2 games. A tough call on him earlier in the ball game.
Fortunately, the Yankees are committing more errors. It's not indicative of how good a fielding team they are, but their errors have not hurt them.
The last 2 games, they've had a few miscues that haven't hurt them. They've got a stolen base. Their baseball leading total up to 42 on the season. Hard shot, headed deep to the corner. Bernie's at second. It bounces around for the right fielder, Ernie Young. Bernie gets the red light from Willie Randolph with the throw out in short right field. So now it's second and third and nobody out.
Looked like a flat slider or a fastball that didn't move, and Tino was right on time. Perfect pitch to pull, and he drives it down in the right field corner. As Ernie Young is circling this ball down in the corner, you would think with Bernie Williams' speed, he might score. Now let's see what Bernie does. He knows where the ball is, and he kind of breaks into a little trot right there. There's some miscommunication between he and Willie Randolph.
That was not Bernie Williams flat out.
No, I mean, you, as a base runner, you just run as if you're going to score until the coach holds you up. And Bernie looked like he was kind of cruising into third base as if he anticipated he was going to be held up. As a result, Willie did have to hold him.
It's still a potentially good situation for the Yankees. Second and third, nobody out for Tim Raines, who looked at ball 1. Raines hitting .319, first at bat. He grounded out. It has gotten flat out cold here in Kansas City. A check that rolls foul, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Got spoiled when we came in yesterday, people talking about how they'd finally waited for a day like that.
On the Toyota Yankees box score, you can see where the hits have come, where you like to see them. 2, 3, 4, and 5. But all the Yankees have for their hits is 1 run. Slow stuff from Haney. 2 balls and a strike. You know what I love about Buck O'Neil, Jim, is that for this whole thing that we're talking about, the Negro Leagues, the memories of it are limited to a few frames of black and white film, black and white photos. He's got all the memories in color.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
All of his memories are in full color. Not too many people can say that about that era. Raines out to right center field. Looks like it'll drop in, and does. Both Yankee base runners on the move, but Willie's going to hold Tino at third base. It's 2-1 New York as Bernie comes across home plate. Not hit deep enough for Martinez to head home. But an RBI single, 3 straight Yankees on base here to start the 4th.
That's a good at-bat by Tim Raines. Watch the approach. He gets rewarded for this. You see how long he waits, because there are men on second and third, nobody out, infield back. He's saying all I have to do is wait and hit the ball the other way, and I'm going to get a run home. And by waiting, he was able to just fist that ball into right field for a base hit.
Chad Curtis now, who grounded out his first time up, facing Chris Haney. He's been all over Haney in his brief experiences with him. 4 for 7 now. That's like 600. Raines has checked in with Jose Cardinal at first. One ball and one strike.
Al, when you're pitching against this Yankee lineup with pitchers like Chris Haney, now experienced, they're looking down there, say, Chad Curtis. Yeah, he used to hit second or third with the Tigers. And then there's Scott Brocious. He hit like third with the A's. These guys are hitting seventh and eighth. You don't get a lot of breathers. Get some pretty quality hitters right down through the entire lineup.
Curtis gets into one deep to center field, but playable. That stiff wind may have knocked it down a bit. It's going to drive in a run as Martinez scores, and the Yankees lead it 3-1. Well, I thought that had a little bit more giddy up on it coming off the bat. But it died in the glove of Johnny Damon.
RBI number 20. Watch Curtis wait. And the off-speed pitch up in the strike zone. Chad drives it deep enough to become a productive out and get the third run home.
You look at a player like Chad Curtis and you look at Detroit and you say, what exactly about Chad Curtis didn't they want there at Detroit? A little bit off the end of the bat.
Now, he came to the Yankees with a reputation from some organizations as being, quote, not a good guy in the clubhouse. But I think with Chad Curtis's case, he was on teams where he just wanted to play. Now he's getting a chance to play and play on a winning ball club. That can do a lot for your attitude.
Scott Brocious fouls one back into the seats here at Kauffman Stadium. He's a quiet reserve guy. That's about it.
Scott Brocious?
No.
Chad Curtis?
Chad Curtis.
Yeah.
Not too many obnoxious loudmouths from the farmlands of Michigan. 0-1 to Brocious. Fouls another one off. Brocious has been a little outstanding in that he's got 6 errors on the season, and for all the talk of his great glove, I talked to him about it before the game, and he said, you know, that's not my determining factor of how well I've played defensively. He said, you know, I've had a couple of rough moments, but I can't dwell on that. I know that I've done the most with some of the tough plays, and I know that it evens out. He said I could go the next month and not make one.
He is exactly right. You don't judge outstanding fielders by the number of errors they make in all cases.
Way inside.
Good pitch by Haney after Brocious fouled a couple of inside pitches off. Scott might be thinking, I'm going to get one over the plate. So Haney pushes him back to probably set up an outside pitch on this sequence.
The 1-2 pitch. We'll have to wait.
Yeah, Scott has so much range at third base. And Derek Jeter can play a couple of steps more toward second now. No disrespect for Boggs or Charlie Hayes, but they're a little bit older, and Brocious has a lot more range than either one of them.
That's blocked by Sweeney. Raines at first with 3 stolen bases on the season, and considering his long history in stealing bases in this sport, it's amazing he's not one of the team leaders when they've come to all this base stealing.
Tim picks his spots more at this time of his career. His percentage is still going to be high. He's just not going to run with a reckless abandon that he did in those younger years with the Expos.
Yankees have stolen 42 bases and been caught only 11 times. They have, as a team, picked their spots. Haney takes a long time. I mean, Raines is barely a step off the base. What's the theory when you got a guy who isn't apparently setting up with a long lead to steal? Why throw over?
I think a lot of it is by habit.
Brocious sends one out to short left field. And Shane Mack makes the grab out there, 2 away in the Yankee 4th.
Back to your point, Al, when you're a young pitcher, coaches, whether they're in college or wherever you are, it's drummed into you. Hey, throw over to first base, hold them on. No one gets more information thrown at them than pitchers. I mean, do you ever see a hitting coach come out in the middle of an inning and call a hitter out of the box and say, look, let me tell you something about that? No, but they'll run out to the pitcher. They feed you all kinds of information, and sometimes by habit, you just throw over there like you did right there without any thought behind it. I always wanted to see that happen. Bases loaded, and the hitting coach calls time and calls a hitter out of the box. Say, I want to talk to you about this. They do it to pitchers all the time.
That's a funny thought. Joe Girardi looks at ball one. He gets a look and a sign from Willie Randolph. Rains again. 3, 4, 5 little bitty steps off the bag at first.
Now, I would think, I mean, I might be wrong, but I would think right now is a situation where Joe Torre would prefer to have Rains just stay put. Because if he were to go and get thrown out, you got Girardi leading off. You would rather let Girardi swing the bat, and if he makes an out, you want Knobloch leading off. That's why you got him hitting first anyway.
Girardi fouls it straight back. It's always good to plan ahead.
That'd be interesting sometime, maybe even on a pregame segment, to talk with Joe Torre and Don Zimmer about what really goes into making up a lineup. Why does this guy hit 8th and that guy hit 9th, and you know what their thoughts are to putting guys in these various positions.
Well, Joe said, for example, tonight he separated Paul O'Neill and Tino Martinez, and he said, just a gut thing. I didn't want the two lefties back to back. They were the only two guys who hadn't done well against Haney, so there was just a short explanation for that move in tonight's batting order.
Yeah, the Royals had that situation last night in the 2-1 game. They had Rosado coming in to face O'Neill and Martinez, two hitters who he'd done quite well against, and he walked them both. So tonight, by splitting them up, he gets Bernie in between them.
Girardi fooled on the speed of that pitch, and the Yankees are done. But they do get 2 runs. A double by Tino Martinez. Crunch deep to the corner. Gives them a second, then they add one more on a sac fly to center.
This week, the paper will be extra heavy from all the savings at McDonald's. Just look for these great money-saving coupons. You'll get big deals like a Big Mac or Quarter Pounder with cheese sandwich for just 99 cents. So look for the insert in your Sunday paper or mailbox. Did somebody say McDonald's?
Sports cars are tested on the high-speed straightaways of the German Autobahn, on the high-banked curves of an oval racetrack. Yeah, we get bored with that. The new 205 horsepower Isuzu Amigo. It leaves sports cars in the dust, literally.
Where's technology going? Photonics, pharmaceuticals, biotech. They're coming to Connecticut to grow. Software companies here are growing faster than in Silicon Valley itself. Since January of '96, more than 450 high-tech firms were launched from here in Connecticut, capitalizing on some of the most highly skilled workers in the world. Call us and see how much power we can put behind your business.
Nobody does it like you.
To deep clean your carpet and upholstery, you can get a Hoover Steam Vac Ultra and pay once. Or pay these guys.
Nobody
every time.
does it like you.
This week, the paper will be extra heavy from all the savings at McDonald's. Just look for these great money-saving coupons. You'll get big deals like a Big Mac or Quarter Pounder with cheese sandwich for just 99 cents. So look for the insert in your Sunday paper or mailbox. Did somebody say McDonald's?
Andy Pettit's been in a jam every one of the first 3 innings. And in every one of the first 3 innings, the leadoff man's gotten on. The Delta Airlines schedule tomorrow. We're back on MSG. Yankees Royals at 1:30. Then to the ballpark in Arlington Tuesday and Wednesday. And the trip moves on to Minnesota after that. Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 o'clock game times here on MSG. Andy Pettit to face Jeff King in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Jeff struck out, hitting .280 on the season. Shows bunt. So what do you think of Tony Muse's opinion of Jeff King? The American League's best fielding first baseman or not?
I'd have to think that over. The play he made, some of the subtle things I look at as to how guys play their positions. And the one thing that I picked up on in that pickoff move that Jeff King did that a lot of first basemen don't, he came all the way out to the grass to meet the throw. That was what enabled him to throw Knobloch out at second. He picked a nice ball out of the dirt. I think he does all of the things you want a good fielding first baseman to do. you start thinking around the American League. Got Erstad, who is an inexperienced first baseman, as is Giambi, Palmeiro, Tino, Mo Vaughn. Oh, boy. Here's a launch to left, and it is gone. A home run for Jeff King. It's a solo shot, and it makes the score 3-2. Pettit continues to still have a tough time. Jeff King's 7th of the season. You see where Girardi wanted the target? He wanted it away. It kind of hung inside, and King turned on it. A much different looking Royals team. This team can score some runs. For years, Kansas City couldn't do that.
So the Royals, each time the Yankees have scored, have come right back. Shane Mack on a little play for Pettit. Spins and throws. One away. He's a very good fielding pitcher.
Getting back to your thoughts on Jeff King and scanning around the league, there isn't a first baseman that jumps out at me right now that you would say, you know, for years you had Mattingly and Herbeck and Wally Joyner, guys that were really slick. J.T. Snow when he was in this league. But I'm trying to think right now, there really isn't an exceptionally good fielding first baseman. Maybe David Segui out in Seattle is pretty good with a glove.
Well, now we're talking right fielder in Ernie Young with 1 out and the bases empty. High hop for Brocious. 2 away.
It's only the 2nd home run that Pettit has given up this year, and strangely enough for Jeff King, it's the first one he's hit off a left-hander.
Mike Sweeney, the catcher for the Royals, to hit now. If someone were to ask you what's Andy's problem right now, would you simply say control?
Yeah, I would say the old real estate deal, location. I don't think he's really happy. That pitch to King would be an example. Girardi set up on the outside corner, and it kind of sailed to the inside half. I don't think he's throwing the ball where he would like to. But you pointed up a couple of innings ago, that's how, if a pitcher starts 35 games a year, you've got your number 1 stuff, maybe a half a dozen, 7, where you go out there and just say, I don't think they can hit me, like a Rabu last night. Then you got 6 or 7 where no matter what you do, you're going to be taking a shower in the 4th inning. But it's those 18 or so in between that you try to figure out a way to keep your team in it, and Pettit does that very well.
I would love to know what Hideki and Rabu and David Wells were talking about.
Think we could mic him?
Looks like pitching.
I tell you, you know, he's been sitting next to Coach. You'd be surprised. You see the body language that pitchers go through. They're usually talking about pitching and hitting. I think right now that maybe Wells is saying, how are you throwing your curveball? You know, Hideki's amazing. Scouts will say he goes out there and just thumbs up through those little slow curves, and then you get a couple men on it. Here it comes, about 97.
The 2-2 pitch just misses to Mike Sweeney.
Pettit wanted that one, but Tim Cheetah, like Brian O'Nora last night, they're very consistent. They will give you a little borderline on the corners if it's down, but not up.
And Pettit loses. Mike Sweeney hitting .225. So Shane Halter, the shortstop for the Kansas City Royals, will be next. And the fans react to the scoreboard here at Kauffman Stadium. A high Baltimore shot. Tough play for Jeter, and he can't do anything with it. That one had just too much hang time. But it did a pretty good job to even pick it up on that weird hop.
And good reaction. Derek was going to take no chances. This ball hits right off the plate. And he plays it well, but he knew immediately he had no chance. He's not going to take any He's not going to risk making a bad throw. And Andy Pettit is saying, it wasn't that high bouncer that makes me mad. It's that 2-out walk to Sweeney.
Well, now Pettit's got to buckle down. 2 on, 2 out. He's got to face the top of the order here in Johnny Damon, who singled and scored a run in the first, reached on an error in the third. He gets the pitch he wants, and that's strike 1. The defensive highlight of the game so far was Paul O'Neill's throw to nail Shane Mack at the plate. That closed out the second inning. Damon, the speedy center fielder, hitting .281.
I think one of the differences, Al, one of the reasons that Paul O'Neill was able to throw him out, if you look at the Yankee outfield and then compare it to the Royals, they play very, very shallow. You know, all of the outfielders there are in position to catch one of those little loopers over the infield.
Popped up, curling toward the screen and out of play. Now, that was one of the things that Bobby Valentine wanted to change in terms of the philosophy of the Mets. He said, I'm going to get beat on more fly balls that fall in front of my outfielders than fly balls that fly over their heads. So that was what
I think that way. That's always been a little argument between pitchers and outfielders. I would constantly say, especially in the opposite field, come on in, and outfielders are more, they're worried about the ball going over their head, but if it goes over their head, it's usually a double or a home run anyway, so cut off those ones in front of you.
1 and 2 to Damon. Ground ball to Knobloch. Plays it to the belly and throws to Tino Martinez. And Pettit once again pitches out of what could have been a problem. But Jeff King gave Pettit a problem with that pitch, launching it into the seats and left. It's a 1-run ball game in Missouri.
Insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
Paying your dues is hard. Paying your bills is easy. With Chase Online Banking, the quicker, easier way to make payments and transfer money, leaving you a little more time for paying your dues. Chase Online Banking, free when you open a Chase Better Banking account.
Okay, tune into Bob's for men's, women's, and kids' Levi's jeans. 501, 505, 550. Bob's, the only place for Levi's.
Yankee fans, the Yankees want you to join their official fan club for kids. There's 2 packages to choose from. The double play with lots of great stuff, and the Grand Slam, well, it's got even more. Yankee caps, t-shirts, ticket discounts, and there's even an official newsletter. So if you're 16 or younger, ask Mom or Dad to sign you up. Call 201-784-9600 for more information. That's 201-784-9600.